Hey everyone, we are wrapping up chapter 12. We are on slide 30. Slide 30 of chapter 12, appendicular muscles, muscles of the legs that we're going over. We're going over muscles of the crural region first. This one here in this picture, this is an anterior view of the left leg. It's just lateral of the anterior border. This muscle is the Tibialis Anterior, just lateral of the anterior border of the tibia, that sharp part of your shin. This is for dorsiflexion of your talocrural joint. Dorsiflex is when you bring your toes up. So if your feet are flat on the ground and you bring them up this way, that's dorsiflexion. It can also be used for inversion. So if this is your left foot, inversion would be bringing your sole medially, inversion. Just lateral to the tibialis anterior is this long, thin muscle, and its tendon attaches to digits 2, 3, 4, and 5 of your feet. This long, thin muscle is the extensor digitorum longus. We've seen the extensor digitorum, that was in your antebrachial region. Extensor digitorum extends your 2 through 4 phalanges of your hand. Here, extensor digitorum dorsiflexes and extends your metatarsophalangeal joints 2 through 5. Longus, because it has a long tendon. So extensor digitorum and extensor digitorum longus are two different muscles. One's in the antebrachial region, longus is in the crural region. The third one here, thin and lateral, and it's best viewed from this left lateral view. This is Fibularis longus. You might see it called peroneus longus. I think Fibularis longus makes more sense, easier to remember. It's on the fibular side. Fibularis longus, since it's more lateral, it's for plantar flexion. So it's the antagonist of tibialis anterior. It's for plantar flexion. It's for bringing your toes down. It's also for eversion, for bringing the sole of your foot laterally, eversion. Plantar flexion and eversion of the talocrural joint. You can see some exercises that use these muscles. Tibialis anterior, if this is the right foot, this is inversion. With your right foot, this is eversion for the fibularis longus. And you can use these band exercises to do that kind of motion, eversion and inversion. Extensor digitorum longus helps you bring your toes, helps them flare up. As well as what I haven't shown here, dorsiflexion and plantar flexion. We'll see an exercise for that in a minute. These three muscles are on the anterior lateral side of the crural region of the lower leg, distal leg. On the posterior side, there are two major muscles I'd like you to know. Take a look at this view, this posterior view of the left leg. We can see one large muscle with two bodies, two bellies. This large muscle, more superficial, this is called the gastrocnemius. Gastro, maybe you've heard of that word in terms of like food and kitchen stuff. Gastro means belly. So it's a two-bellied muscle, gastrocnemius. Gastrocnemius is pretty superficial and a bit more proximal. If you look a bit more distal and deeper, you'll find another muscle. It's wider and flatter. It's hiding under here. This wider, flatter muscle is the soleus. Together, the gastrocnemius and the soleus They make up what we call our calf muscles. Together, they are for plantar flexion. They are for plantar flexion, along with that fibularis longus. But these are the larger muscles, so they're the stronger ones. Plantar flexion at the talocrotal joint. What's also interesting about them is that together they share a tendon inserting into the calcaneus. That tendon, you might know it as your Achilles. Achilles is it's a story about a Greek person, soldier probably, who had no weakness except for getting hit in this one spot because they dipped him in some immortal, I don't know, look up the story. But it's a fun myth. This tendon, more accurately for us, known as the calcaneal tendon because it inserts into the calcaneus. Not a fun one to tear. People have, you can see, it has happened that people in sports have torn these tendons. Feels like someone hits you in the back because this just kind of flips up. Simple calf exercise where you plantar flex. Your ankle starts at this bend, and we bring that bend up. Plantar flexion uses your gastrocnemius and your soleus, as well as the fibularis longus. So that wraps up our discussion on appendicular muscles. We use appendicular muscles to move our arms, to move our legs, stand, sit, play, stabilize. Lots of reasons why we use our appendicular muscles. Let's take a look at those in complete anatomy. Let's look at the right leg. So here's the right leg. Tibialis or tibial bone. Orient yourself with the tibial bone. Look for the anterior border. Try to click on it. There we go. There's the tibia. Lateral of the tibia, lateral of the anterior border of the tibia, we have tibialis anterior. Lateral of that, we have a long, slender muscle with a really long tendon. That's the extensor digitorum longus. Extensor digitorum longus. Lateral of that, we have our fibularis longus. If we keep wrapping around, you can see that the soleus is pretty deep. It's hiding underneath the gastrocnemius. There's soleus. If I isolate the soleus, it's pretty large, wide and flat. It's hiding deep to the gastrocnemius. Gastrocnemius has two heads, and both of these, their major function is to plantar flex. They can do other things, but the major motion that I'd like you to know is plantar flexion. And it uses, it's both of these. This is just the lateral head, the medial head is right here. And they both insert to the calcaneus using the calcaneal tendon. All right, those are the muscles of the appendicular skeleton, appendicular musculature that I would like you to know. Please let me know if you have more questions. Don't forget to take a look at Ackland's also, to look at, don't forget to also look at Ackland's. Let me show you where. We have the link that I've been using for complete anatomy is right here, and there's videos in Ackland's that I've linked here to all the different muscles that I'm asking you to know. So you can see what it looks like in a cadaver. And of course, we can do this in lab too. But as always, please let me know if you have any questions, questions in the comments and the discussion. I'll talk to y'all later.